Contact records can be stored in many different places, for customers, vendors, and even internal roles, with each classified with a type value. Contact information can also be saved with transactions in order to follow up with a process, or used to determine the recipient of an emailed form or report. Before entering and using contacts, you should first create and update the master list of contact types, located within Company Settings and the Contact Types tab. These types can be assigned to any external or internal contact in Spire, and you can add, edit, or delete from this list. If you edit and save a contact type value, that will update all Spire contacts at the same time with this new value. You may also see 3 generic contact labels with numbers 1 to 3, which would have been created by a database conversion from Spire version 3.7 or older. The best practice setup would be to have non-generic labels for each contact, modified in their respective company settings prior to migrating to the current Spire version. When maintaining a list of contacts, they can be found in their own section, typically on the same screen where addresses are found. In the case of customer or vendor contacts, you can keep separate lists for each billing or shipping or other address. Create a new contact by clicking in the name column within the blank row to access the cell and enter the full name. In other columns, enter the known information such as a phone number or email address. Finally, in the contact type column, choose the value that best defines their role. It is possible to have multiple contacts with the same type assigned, but some types are best used for a specific person only, and in places where a default contact type is set, this would prevent one from being chosen. To delete a contact record, use the X button at the bottom. In the address area above, there are phone and email fields that are available, generally to the record and not specifically for an individual. These are also used as contact information in various places in Spire, for display or when emailing forms. If you need to update many customer or vendor contacts, it may be more efficient to use the import tool to do so, rather than one at a time. There are a couple of features regarding contacts that are particular to customers. One is that if you make any changes to information for a contact that exists on open sales orders, you can use the Update Orders function to push these changes to the contact info on the Order Bill To tab. Also, the Customers module provides a separate Contacts tab where the entire list of all contacts across all customers and addresses are found. This is a useful place to search for a specific contact by their information, or export the list for use in a mail merge process. Other places where you can maintain contact lists in the same way are for vendors, employees, salespeople, warehouses, and jobs. You can also configure company settings to have internal staff contact information saved, which is separate from user or employee information, and to assign them a contact type value. In transaction entry, there are many places where contact information is either displayed or used. Within sales orders, there are separate tabs for the customer bill to and ship to addresses that can be different and each draw from their respective contact lists. You are not limited to a single contact in either place, if more than one is needed. You can select another contact from the drop-down list, or even type in a new name that isn't on file and provide their contact information. In a similar fashion, the Ship From tab stores the address and contact list for your warehouse, which was initially loaded from the warehouse on the Main tab and the Ship From field. Sales orders have 2 main contacts. The buyer is the person making the purchase from you, and the receiver is the person getting the shipment, and these could be the same person. For both the buyer and receiver, there are company settings to determine the default contact type, where the customer contact person assigned to this type will be loaded on new sales orders. Note that if the customer has multiple contacts assigned this type, the no default person will be loaded for that field. If you want to change either of these contact values, you can select a different name. The list of buyers is a combination of the Bill To tab contacts and the customer billing contacts. Choosing a new name will load their contact information and also add them to the list of Bill To contacts for this order, not replacing the original buyer here. Or if the buyer does not exist on either contact list, you can enter their name directly into the buyer field, along with their information. And this also will be added to the Bill To contact list. Similarly, the receiver field is connected to the combination of shipping address and Ship To tab lists of contacts, where you can select the receiver from the list or enter a new contact. When the order is shipped and the invoice posted, all contacts from the Bill To and Ship To are saved on the sales history invoice transaction for inquiry or future use. Other transaction types support contacts. Purchase orders and the Bill From tab has the vendor contacts that you have to add manually if desired. The Ship To tab also has a contact list, which could be entered either from those on the warehouse contacts or those from the drop ship customer and shipping address ID. Any contact entered on these tabs will be saved on the historical purchase record after it has been received and invoiced. On point of sale transactions, when you choose the customer for the sale, you can include a contact here, typically only one, but more is possible. Note that for the selected customer, the information displayed at the top of the sale window is from the general company information and not the contact. Within both accounts receivable and accounts payable, when you edit a record in order to view or process transactions, the displayed contact information at the top is determined from the person who has the company setting for the AR or AP contact type assigned. If multiple contacts for the customer or vendor have this type, then no contact information will display, so it is best practice to have only one contact that has this type. Another process that is closely integrated with contacts and types is emailing forms and reports, either internally within your company or externally to customers and vendors. When you send an email by selecting a single record or transaction, either by clicking the Email Toolbar button or through generating a report, you have the opportunity of choosing from any related contacts that have email addresses entered. For sales orders, this could be any of the contacts from the Bill To or Ship To tabs, the buyer or receiver, the salesperson, contacts from the customer billing or shipping addresses, including those not referenced on the order, and even your company's users, perhaps as a blind carbon copy. Other record and transaction types would have different choices available. When you send multiple emails to multi-selected records or transactions, they are generated as a batch. In this scenario, email recipients are not selected individually, but instead by contact type, where contacts that have this type would receive the email. This means that if multiple contacts have the selected type, they would all receive their own email. The list of contact types to select from are generated from all possibilities across all selections, which means that it is possible a record will not have a contact with an email address and that type, which would result in an email with no address. For this reason, it is important to be consistent when creating contacts and assigning types, if you plan to email forms or reports in batches. If you would like more information about Spire Accounting, access the link in the description below to our homepage. Read the online manual help for additional assistance. Watch more videos from this playlist, and subscribe to the Spire YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.